For this tutorial, I will be using, I love this yarn. This particular skein was clearance, so I'm not going to go ahead and give any specs or anything on it, but it is a number 4, and that's, you can use any 4-weight yarn. You'll need a pair of scissors, stitch marker, needle, and I will be using a J6 crochet hook. So let's go ahead and get this started. We're going to start with a magic ring. Now, if you don't do magic rings, you can always chain 3 or 4 and then go back and slip stitch into your first stitch, and you can have your ring that way. If you use the magic ring, you can do it any way that you feel comfortable. The way I do it is I just act like I'm going to make a slip knot, except I don't close it. And my short tail is always through the ring. So we are going to chain up 2. Does not count as anything, it's just getting us up to speed. Now we're going to go ahead and put 12 double crochets into this ring. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm going to pull this a little tighter. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Let's make sure. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay, I'm going to pull that baby tight. I don't want the short one, I want the long one. Okay. We're going to slip stitch into that very first stitch, like so. Chain 2, doesn't count. We're going to go back into that very same stitch, and we are going to put 2 double crochets. Now you don't have to do this, but I do it just so that I know exactly what my first stitch is. I don't want to get confused with that chain. So there's 2. We're going to go ahead and put 2 double crochets into every stitch. So at the end of this round, we're going to have 24 double crochets. And I will meet you when we get back to the end. I have my round of increases done. I've got 24 stitches. I'm going to go ahead, slip stitch into the top of that very first stitch. We have 2 rounds done. Let's go into round 3. Chain 2, again, doesn't count. Go ahead, put a double crochet into that very first stitch. Again, I'm going to go ahead, put my stitch marker in. Now I'm going to put 2 double crochets into this next, next one. Make sure I've got some yarn pulled out over here. Into the next stitch, 1 double crochet. Into the next, 2. You're going to continue doing that all the way around. On this last stitch, you should have 2 double crochets. I'll meet you when we get there. Just finished our 3rd round. We should have 36 stitches. We're going to go ahead slip stitch into the top of that first stitch. Now we're going to go ahead, chain 2 again. We're going to go back in there, make a double, and then in the very next stitch, make a double, and in the 3rd stitch, we're going to make an increase. And an increase is just 2 stitches into the same stitch. And we're going to go ahead, do 1 double crochet, 1 double crochet, and an increase. One double, 1 double, and an increase, and you're going to continue that until you get to the end. You should have 48 stitches when we're done. Okay, I've just finished round 4. I now have 48 stitches. I'm going to go ahead, slip stitch to the top of that first stitch. And for our last row of increases, let's chain up 2 for height. Go ahead, put that double crochet in that same stitch, and just for good measure, we're going to do that. Then we're going to put a single crochet, double crochet into each of the first 3 stitches, and then we're going to do an increase on the 4th. So it's 1 double, 1, 1, and an increase. We're going to continue doing this all along. That's 3 double crochets and then an increase. And when we get to the end, we should be finished with an increase on the last stitch with a total of 60 stitches. And I will meet you there. Okay, we have just finished round 5. You should have 60 stitches, and you should have ended on an increase. Full disclosure, this round and this round, I had to frog back because I did not finish on a increase, so I had to go figure out where I went wrong. So if that happened to you, do not think you're the only person it happens to. So now we're going to go ahead and slip stitch into that first stitch. Now we start the crisscross. I'm going to go ahead and chain up 3. This is going to count as a double crochet. And I am going to skip this stitch, and into this stitch, I'm going to make a double crochet. Now I'm going to yarn over, go back into this skipped stitch, I go in. Some people do this differently, but this is the way I do it. So I just go into that skip stitch and make a double crochet. And then I skip the next stitch, make a double crochet, and into that skipped stitch, I just go in, make a double crochet. Skip the next one, make a double, go back into that skip stitch, make a double over that first one. And then you see you have X's. X, X, X. We are going to continue doing this all the way around, where you skip a stitch, make a double, and then you go back into that skip stitch and make a double over the front of the other one. Skip, double, go back in, catch that skip stitch, and we're going to do that all the way around, and I'll meet you when we get somewhere in here. Okay, I've made it all the way around. I have one stitch left. I'm going to go ahead, put a double in there, and then I'm going to 1, 2, count up to the third stitch here. And I am just going to go ahead and slip stitch into the top of that. Now I'm going to chain up 3. I am going to, let me see, how do I want to do that? I'm going to go to this stitch, the previous stitch right here, and I'm going to go ahead and do that, so that I'm going to grab this, because right there at the top of that chain 3 is actually my first stitch. Now I'm going to skip this, go in here, and then it's going to be a little, and do that. Did you see that? Okay. Okay. That's where I slip stitched. This is a stitch, and this is a stitch. So I'm going to skip that. I'm going to go into this one, make a double, go into the skipped, and we're going to keep doing that skip. Okay, see, we've got our, I'm going to skip this one, go into that one, and go back into the one that we skipped. And our X's are actually going like this, so they're not on top of each other. That's the effect I want to get. So skip, and we'll go into this stitch, grab that skipped one, skip that one, go into this one, go back to that skip stitch. And we're going to continue doing this all the way around. And just before we get to the end here, to this stitch, I will join you. That would be that stitch right there. Okay, I've reached the very end. I'm going to end on 1 double crochet. I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch into the top of this stitch right here. And that leaves us with 60 stitches. So this is 5, 6, 7. I do believe it's round 8. I'm going to chain 1, and we're going to go back into that same stitch, make a single. Put my stitch marker in so I know exactly which is the stitch, not to be confused with a chain. And we are going to put 1 single stitch into the top of every stitch all the way around. Like so. And we are going to do this for 3 rounds. So this is the first round, and we will reach the end. We're going to slip stitch into the top of this one, go ahead, chain 1, make a single. And then you're going to do 1 more row after that. And when we get to the end of the 3rd row of single crochets, the 3rd round, I'll meet you then. I have just finished my 3 rows of single crochet. I still have 60 stitches. And I am going to go ahead and slip stitch into my very first stitch. Okay, now we're going to go back to the crisscrosses. Chaining up 3, skip 1, make a double into the next. Go back, make a double into that skip stitch. Skip 1, go into the next stitch, a double, go back and catch that last one. Skip a stitch, make a double, go back in, catch that missed stitch. Skip, double. Seriously, we're going to put a double in it. Then we're going to go pick up that missed one. Skip, double, pick up the skipped. Skip, double. Go back and grab that skipped stitch. We're going to do that all the way around. I'll meet you again when we get back here. I've come to the end of that round. I have 1 stitch left. I'm going to go ahead, put a double. I'm going to count up 1, 2, 3. Let's see. There we go. Slip stitch into the top of that one. Now I'm going to chain 3. And we're just going to go ahead, go into that previous stitch, the last stitch of the previous round. We're going to do that. And then we're going to stitch marker that. And we are going to skip this one. And we're going to go into that one and grab our skipped. This time we're going on top of our X's. So we're just skipping, double, skip, double, go grab that that skipped one, skip, double, grab that mixed one. I don't know why I said mixed, skipped. Okay, we're going to do that all the way around. I'll meet you when we get back here. I have come to the end of this round. I've made my last X. Stitch marker should be in the top of that chain 3. Pop that out, and we are going to, okay, I want to show you this. When you're doing like a chain, you see you've got your V there. Just go into one side of it, and then kind of, if you can't, there. As long as you've got that loop on the bottom, you're good. Sometimes you have to go in to this first loop, kind of turn your hook to catch that bottom hump there so you can get through. But we did it this time, so yay us. Okay, so we're going to chain 1. We're going to go right back into that stitch and make a single. Pop that in so we know exactly where our stitch is. We're going to put a single stitch, a single crochet into every stitch around. And again, we're going to do this for 3 rounds. Just into the top of every stitch, all the way around. And I will meet you after I have my 3 rounds done. I have finished my 3 rounds of single crochet, and we are almost done. Take that out. I'm going to go ahead. Okay, now we're going to chain up 1, and we're going to make a half double into that there same stitch. Do that, and we are going to put a half double crochet into every single stitch all the way around. Just like so. I'll meet you again when we get back to the end. Okay, I've made it all the way around with my half doubles. Now I'm going to slip stitch into the top of that first one. Right here, remember this is our chain 2. Slip stitch, we are going to go ahead, chain 2 again, and this time we're going to do a front post half double around that stitch. And so we always know where our slip stitch goes. I'm going to go ahead and put that in there. Okay. In case you missed it on that one, to do a front post half double, you're going to wrap the yarn around your hook, go in and around, grab your yarn, just like you're making a half double. Wrap, you go in on the right, out the left, pull your yarn through, just, oh goodness, so busy trying to actually think of what I'm doing, I can't do it. Just like that. Wrap, right, left, grab, pull, pull all three. Wrap, go in, through, grab, all three. Wrap, in, around, grab, all three. Just get that stitch on top of your, just like that. You can slow this down if you need to see better. But we're going to go ahead and do that all the way around. And I will meet you when we get back here. Okay, I have finished doing my front post half doubles. I am now going to slip stitch into the top of that first one. Remember that right there is just your chain 2. So remember to start, we go with 2. Wrap, go in, just like that. Pull up, pull through, all 3. And if you're like me and you get easily confused, just go ahead and make sure you put your stitch marker in. That way I know that is nothing. Wrap, go in and around. Make sure you get all your yarn. Okay, I will be back with you after we have a total of 5 rows of half double front post. And you will know you have a row because on the back you're going to see these ridges. When you have 5 of those ridges, then you know it's time to meet me right here. Okay, you guys, I decided just to do 4 rounds of the half double front post. So I have 4 ridges back here. You can do 5, you can do 3, whatever makes you happy. But this tends to curl up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and slip stitch right there. And I'm going to put my stitch marker right there because that's all I'm going to do all the way around on this last round. Is just slip stitch all the way around. Just like this. That way it gives it a little edge and it's not gonna curl up as much. I'll meet you when we get right back there. Okay, I've slip stitched all the way around. Remember, don't make your slip stitches really tight. This is just for a nice little border. It's not for anything to keep it together. So now I'm going to slip stitch back into that first one, and I like to go ahead and slip stitch into the second one as well. Then I'm going to take my scissors, cut me off a little bit, pull that through. Now I'm going to turn my hat inside out. Make sure that that's pulled tight. I will grab my needle. Okay. Now I'm going to go through a few stitches. And then I'm going to go back. I'm going to grab one back there. And I'm going to go through the fibers. Pull that back. Cut that off. Like so. That way that will stay nice and tight. I'm going to go down here. Grab that tail. I'm going to go through these loops and go down. And then I'm just going to make my way down like so. Skip over that one, go in here, just kind of slither about, go back up, and skipping that one, I'm going to slither down again, go between the fibers. Like so, and there you go. Your beanie is done. Thanks for watching.